Hey everybody, this is Dan and Chace at Adventure Harley-Davidson and Parts and Accessories. One of the things we do a lot of here at our dealership is put handlebars on bikes for people. We get a lot of different questions. So we wanted to make a video today about handlebars, all the different things to consider when we're doing handlebars. And like I said, we do a lot of these for customers, so we get a lot of different questions. Our techs do a lot of different things with bikes, so we're just going to start out with some of the basics and show you some of the difference in the handlebars and things to consider when you're thinking about handlebars. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chace to talk about some of the accessories and the parts that go on. I'll talk about cables and things like that, and then we have a couple bikes to show you. So Chace?
Yep, so there are many different types of handlebars we can go with on your motorcycle, of course, but no matter the type of handlebar we do decide to go with, there are going to be some required products to go along with it. So what we're going to start off with is going to be our handlebar riser bushings. So on our motorcycles these days, they come with stock riser bushings in them. You may have seen your bike or some buddy's bikes have a little extra wiggle in the handlebars. Well, of course, when we go with a taller set of handlebars, it's going to be increased leverage on the bars when you're pushing and pulling it around. So a big fix for that is going to be polyurethane riser bushings. So these are just going to be replacement for your rubbers. It's usually a quick and easy install while we're doing your handlebars, so it's worth the customer doing while the bike's apart, of course. And that's going to keep you from getting so much wiggle out of your handlebars. Now, of course, with anything 50,000 miles down the road, these may need to be replaced in the future, but it's a great upgrade to do while the bike's being torn apart. And then we're going to have our switch wire extensions. So these right here are actually going to be for 14 and later models. Dan has some extensions that are going to be for some older models, but these are going to be plug and play for the new bikes. So simply put, going to plug them in. It's going to be a quick 8-inch extension. Depending on what size bar you're doing, we may need to go with a different set to be a little bit longer for you. But no matter what we do, generally with a taller bar, we're going to need some sort of switch wire extensions. These are quick and easy ones for 14 and later models, as well as extended throttles. So this will be for our 08 to 13 models. Simply put, the new bikes have electronic throttles in them. Of course, when you're doing handlebars, you have to extend them. Well, with this upgrade right here, it's actually a Screaming Eagle product. The wires are already extended for a relatively long set of handlebars, and there are no plugs or breaks in the wire anywhere from the throttle to where it plugs into your main harness. So it's a great upgrade for the handlebar job, and it makes it easier on the install, whether we're doing it or you, the customer, are doing it. Now, of course, on our Street Glide models, you do have fairing mounted mirrors. So when we go getting into a different set of handlebars, a lot of times your hands are blocking the mirrors. So what Harley-Davidson offers and many other companies are fairing plugs. Simply put, these guys are going to push into the holes where your mirrors are currently mounted on your fairing, and that will allow us to mount a set of mirrors onto your handlebars at that point, whether you mount them on the top side of the bars or on the underside. Of course, that's a big choice up to the customer. Also, while we're doing the handlebars, we're going to need to change out the grips generally if the bike has stock bar or stock grips on it, that is. So with these, with your stock rubbers, a lot of times they have to get cut off the motorcycle because they're just glued on. So time to upgrade the hand grips. So we've just got a simple set of grips right here. Easy install, nothing much to it really at that point. But one of the better ideas while we're doing your handlebars are heated grips. So with our heated grips, the wires have to run internally to begin with. So of course, while we're doing the handlebar job, pulling a set of heated grips through goes right in along with it. It's a slight upcharge on the labor and then a little bit of extra work if you're doing it yourself. But if you ever thought about heated grips, doing them while we're doing the handlebars is definitely worth your time. And now I'll let Dan talk a little bit about cable kits.
Hey, back to something real quick. Chace talked about the twist grip extension that he has over here. One of the things, we do get questions every once in a while with people that don't know what this little 2-lead that comes off of this is for. That actually is the plug and play extension for heated grips.
Yes,
so
sir.
if you intend on putting heated grips on sometime in the future, and you're putting one of these on and you notice that this is not connected, don't cut it off, because you will want this later on for heated grips if you're going to put those on your bike. Like Chace talked about, I have a cable kit here. This is what's considered a full cable kit. It's also a black diamond cable kit, so it's a stainless steel braided line. This again is a full kit, so this is the lower portion of the front brakes. We have a clutch cable. We have the different cables for the brakes on the front and the rear. It also comes with wire extensions. Now, this is for 2013 and back bikes, so actually 2012 and back. It's before Harley went to the CAN bus system. And as you can see, there's a lot of wires in here. So when you're going to take on a project like this, consider what you're actually getting into. We do have some customers that just go buy bulk wire. They cut the wires, they solder them in place, and they put them on the bike and they go down the road. These make it much easier because these actually have the plug and play extensions on them, and you can simply plug them in. They have the shrink tube included with them, and they will fit nicely on your bike. Another thing to consider is when you're actually cutting those wires, is make sure that you stagger them so you don't end up with a big lump of wires that you're trying to pull through a set of handlebars. It makes it much easier to pull them through. But this includes everything that you need to do the bike. So again, this is a full bike kit. There are other different cable kits that are offered, ones that simply have upper cables. So if you have a bike that has the OE vinyl cables on it, you don't want to put the lowers down to the calipers, you want to save a little bit of money, you can get a kit that only includes the upper cables as well as the extensions. One of the other things to keep in mind and take into account is on the older bikes, which this actually is for, Harley does make a plug-and-play cable extension kit that will plug into the 2012 and back. You don't see them very often. They're a great big connector up under the fairing, and they're fairly expensive. Those cable kits are over $100. But if you don't want to go through cutting your cables and you just want to put an extension kit on, there actually is a kit available for those as well. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're getting ready to do your bars. And one of the things to take into account is pulling the wires through the bar. It is a task. It does take quite a bit of time, and people wonder why it takes so much time to do these things and why we charge the amount of labor that we do. It's because it's fairly labor intensive. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chase. He has a couple of different bikes, and he's going to talk to you about the difference in some of the handlebars.
All right, guys, so what I've got here in front of us are going to be two new street bobs to show you a little bit of difference between two of our most popular bar styles these days. So what I've got here is a set of mini ape hangers versus a set of T-bars on the street bob. So the mini ape hangers are a little bit more of a traditional old school look for the bike. A lot of times customers are doing it because they want to increase the comfort of the bike. They maybe feel like they're slightly slouched over, reaching for the bars. Coming up, sitting straight up a lot on the bike makes a world's difference for the customer. Sometimes you'll see customers in a performance do a set of mini ape hangers as well, but if we're talking performance riding, the T-bars are going to be more in play here. So with a set of T-bars, simply put, it's going to be a set of risers, and then with this specific bike, it's actually just a set of risers and a set of traditional moto bars. Customers will do drag bars. You'll see one-piece T-bars. There's multiple ways to go about them. The T-bars on the street bobs and the Dynas is usually more of a West Coast thing. So a lot of times when we're talking bars, it really depends what you're into stylistically wise, not necessarily just the ride. A lot of times we're just doing them just to get the look out of them. Both handlebars are going to be a great look for the motorcycle. It really does depend where you're trying to end up in the final place for it, whether you're wanting to do something more cruise and comfort, or if you want to ride the bike a little harder and you want something that's a little bit firmer in the hands, feel a little bit more control of the motorcycle. But again, both of them are going to be great upgrades for your motorcycle no matter which way we're trying to do for you. Thanks.
So to close it out, as you can see, there are a ton of options when it comes to handlebars. There are other options out there. Chase talked about the the mandrel bent bars, the mini apes. There's other ones out there today that have chisel corners on them. They have peak corners on them. Some people call them meat hooks, different things like that, that can give you more style with the more comfortable bar as well. There's a lot of things to take into account. Is it really about looks? Is it really about comfort? Is it really about performance? What is it that you're trying to get to with your bike? And we're here to help you. So a lot of different options, a lot of different things that you can do with the bikes. You can start changing out controls, mirrors, different levers. There are companies out there like Behringer and HHI that make different master cylinders and things like that that are either performance oriented or that give the bike a whole different style and look. So if you're interested in doing something like that, give us a call, set up an appointment, stop in. We're here to help you figure out what you want on your bike. So again, this is Dan and Chase at Adventure. We appreciate your time. Stop in and see if we can help you out.